Another way to look at the making of money is viewing it as a change of thought causing a shift in the way energy in the universe is exchanged. This is not so that you may start living like this, but just so that you may see that simply changing your thought causes a rearranging of the energy in the universe and leads to increased wealth. Let us see how that works historically. Thousands of years ago, people were hunters and gatherers. This was a dangerous and unpredictable way to live. The desire to have more stability and safety caused human beings to think, why do I have to chase after these goats in the wild every day? That led to the idea that goats could be kept at home, domesticated. Now, instead of chasing after the goat every day across the grass plains, man brought the goats together in an enclosure and fed them the same grass from the plains. Even before this new idea, there was always an availability of grass, land, and goats, but no one had thought of changing their arrangement, of domesticating the goats. The idea simply changed the way they exchanged each other, the way the different forms of energy was exchanged. A desire for a better life caused a thought that caused betterment in the standard of living, using the same material that was always there. A change of thought pattern caused this. Next, the human beings desired to reduce their hardships further by acquiring items they needed but did not have. They first did this by going to war with tribes that had these items. Then they desired a much safer way to acquire these items, which led to the idea that they could trade. Again, they improved their lives simply by rearranging their thoughts, causing a change in the way energy in various forms was exchanged. Trade went along fine, the only problem being the long distances it took a person to carry a goat to exchange it with a bag of wheat in the next village. The desire to exchange faster and more efficiently led to the idea that instead of everyone walking all over the place, they can instead meet at one central spot and show all their goods and trade. A market was formed. Again, look at it closely. All the ingredients had always ever existed, but the idea that it could be done had not. The desire for better caused the idea that caused a shift in the way energy forms were exchanged. Remember the law that says energy is neither created nor destroyed, it only changes form. A market did not drop from the heavens on these people. They simply changed their thought pattern, and it was done. Today, the desire to trade even faster has caused us to have currency markets and stock exchanges. Imagine the time when a trader had to walk for half a day to the market, sell one cow, then walk back half a day home. Next came trucks, and farmers could drive several cows to the market and be back home early enough to do another trip. Then came futures and option exchanges, which enabled people to buy and sell thousands of livestock futures and options in seconds without having to get up or move a single cow. Yet nothing dropped from the heavens. It was all right here. People just desired different, and that desire took an infinite coordination of dozens of seemingly unrelated events to end up with a high-tech futures and options market and the zero need to move the cow at the time of trade. The sequencing of everything to end up with a result that enabled faster trade and profiting was unpredictable. But because the desire was there, nature fulfilled. But let us go back to the past. The agrarian revolution came along, and people, from their desire for more wealth, ended up with ways to improve farming. Again, they simply desired, and that desire led to thought, and what had always been there was rearranged. Nothing dropped from the heavens. But even then, it would take a king 3 generations to build a good-sized home and a fair collection of possessions. The average person did not even think it was possible for them to live in a multi-room brick home with certain amenities. That was for kings and queens. Today, life is different. We are born assuming from observation that a house is something that we shall automatically always live in, and that we shall automatically have clothes and certain other things that were reserved for royalty back then. It does not even cross your mind for a moment that you can lack certain things, yet people in the past struggled for generations to get those same things. We have the certainty that they did not have. The point here is to see the powerful effects of certainty on an individual level and on a wider scale. Certainty of thought causes massive shifts in the way energy is rearranged. A massive upshift in certainty of thought and in desire for better always leads to a massive shift in the way energy is rearranged for a better life. Take, for example, the emergence of the IT boom. You had Bill Gates and hundreds of other young people making massive amounts of wealth in very short periods. People would become billionaires in a few years instead of 4 generations as it used to take. And as fresh kids out of college watched this happen, they believed they could do it. And many of them believed. And a whole range of new businesses was formed in no time at all. Young people in their 20s were becoming millionaires by the dozens every day. Yet nothing new dropped from the heavens in those few years. All it took was massive desire, belief, and change of thought. Then the energy that was always there in various forms was rearranged into a whole bunch of new forms that led to wealth. And just as millions of people today live better than a few kings lived in the past, the very near future will have billions of average people living better than millionaires live today. And nothing new will be dropped from the heavens. We will simply desire better, have certainty on a higher level because we are now beginning to understand how it all works, and we will change our thoughts in the right way, and it will just happen in unpredictable and powerful ways. All that needs to exist is right here, and we have it all. The energy packets that make up everything around us, including our bodies, have an unlimited capability to take unlimited and unimaginable forms as long as the desire is there. They have their own intelligence, and they obey our desires with skill that we cannot imagine. If you analyze any substance at all, from light to thought to metal to flesh, it is all made up of energy packets that collect into atoms, cells, and so on. But the amazing thing about these energy packets is that, unlike the forms that they build up, they are not confined in time and space. In other words, they can move from point A to B without crossing the space in between, and they are not confined within the object that they make up. In other words, the energy packets making up your finger right now are not the same ones that will make it up in a few seconds. They can flash up in your finger and then flash up in another person's belly a moment later, or in your light bulb in the house. You do not have your own bunch of energy packets, so to speak. In fact, they're not really particles in the sense that you think of particles. You are forever sharing these packets with everyone and everything else at all times, and they can travel forwards and backwards in time. This is what we and all matter are all made up of. Energy packets flashing in specific patterns to form the appearance of shapes. The information that dictates these specific patterns is partially made up of our thoughts and partially the thoughts of the rest of the universe. That is why medicine is now discovering that our thoughts are very much linked to our state of health. And science is discovering that nothing being observed can be observed independently of the observer, because the observer's expectations and thoughts influence the object under observation. Money is absolutely linked to our thoughts, desires, and certainty, and history and science can prove that to you now. It is in your best interest to improve your own wealth consciousness and that of the world. Your becoming wealthy makes the world wealthy, and the world becoming wealthy makes you wealthy with a whole lot less effort. Look at history to prove this. A major key to building wealth is in making your money work for you, instead of you working for your money. If you work for 5 days in a week and spend all your income without investing any of it, you will have forever lost those 5 days of work. Forever. Wealthy people take a portion of the income from each day and put it into investments that grow on their own, automatically, and without any further work over a long-term period. That way, a portion of each day that you work for money ends up working back for you for many years to come. That is a major key to wealth, getting a percentage of your income every day to work back for you without your intervention. You do this by taking at least 10% of your daily income before taxes and bills and putting that into long-term investment for a minimum of about 3 years. Good investments include stocks, mutual funds, certain types of bank accounts that have high and above inflation interest rates, real estate investment vehicles, bonds, royalty-producing assets, self-maintaining businesses, and so on. These investments do not require you to work for your money. You simply invest, walk away, and your money grows all on its own. Even $1 can turn into $1 million in a certain amount of years at a certain compound interest rate. $1, just $1, can grow into $1 million all on its own without your intervention. You would be pleasantly surprised to know that a single dollar placed into an investment that grows at 20% a year will become $1 million in 75 years. That is just $1. All you would need to do is leave it alone, go away, go to sleep for 75 years, just leave it alone. When you return, it will be $1 million without any effort from you, other than you're placing that single dollar in at the beginning. Now, If instead you put in $1 every single day into the same 20% a year growth investment, you would end up with $1 million in 32 years instead of 75. In fact, $1 a day would become $1 billion in 66 years. A higher interest rate would dramatically shorten that time. This shows that you can never have too little to start with. Whatever your income today, force yourself into the habit of investing 10% of your income before you pay bills or taxes or anything else. Pay yourself first. It is your money and your life. And it gets even better. The 1990s was an era where stocks rose phenomenally. In the 1990s decade, over 200 stocks rose by 1,000%, some by up to 20,000%. Many fell again in 2001, but on the long term, all good companies always rebound to even higher heights. People in the 90s invested various amounts and found themselves wealthier for that. Some invested just $50 a week, and if that was their 10%, that was good enough. It grew. Others invested more. $10,000 invested just once at the beginning of the 90s in certain stocks turned out to be valued at around $5 million by the end of the 90s. Others turned a few million dollars into well over $1 billion in the same period. All this wealth growth happened without any extra effort except putting money away into the investment. These people were not doing anything secret. They were investing in publicly available investments. They were investing in well-selected shares in the stock market, and anyone can do this. You can do it as well starting now. Just remember, choose your investments well, invest consistently, and put 10% aside from every single paycheck or income. Consistency is the key. Compound interest will always work for you without asking anything from you. Your only part is to be consistent, to choose good investments, and to stay put on the long term. Short-term investment usually does not earn as much as long-term investing, and it is usually a lot riskier.